We are living in a time where people communicate with each other less than any other time in human history. Loneliness rates, feelings of isolation, depression levels, and the percentage of single people are the highest that they've been in over 100 years. So what happened? Why don't people talk to each other anymore? What makes it difficult to have conversations with people? This is a multifactorial problem, meaning that many factors are involved. So today, I'm going to share what I believe is the main reason behind this problem. If you understand this reason, it will give you some idea of what direction to go in order to increase communication, friendships, and potentially develop better relationships with others. The reason people aren't communicating as much is that we are living in a fragmented culture. I'll explain what I mean by a fragmented culture and expand on the idea. Now, this is the first important thing to know. In order to have a conversation with someone, you have to be talking about something. And in order to converse about something, both people need to have some shared experience about the thing or subject that you're talking about. And if you are an average person, you can't have a conversation about advanced quantum mechanics with someone that has a PhD in theoretical physics. This person could talk at you. He could try to explain scientific stuff to you, but you probably wouldn't have much to say back. Your average person just doesn't have any experience with theoretical physics or quantum mechanics. On the other hand, if two people go and see the same movie, that movie becomes a shared experience, and they will be able to have a conversation about that movie. I once knew a very happy couple that maintained their relationship by reading the same books. They would go out to dinner at least once a week and discuss the book that they were both reading. This kind of shared experience gives you something to talk about. Here are some more shared experiences that people can have conversations about. Two classical musicians will always be able to talk about music because they share similar experiences related to music. Two people that both play baseball will be able to discuss baseball. And two women that are both interested in makeup will be able to discuss makeup products. One of the most basic shared experiences of the human condition is eating. After all, everyone has to eat, and everyone shares a similar experience of eating. If you take popular foods like pizza, there is a good chance you would be able to have some level of conversation about pizza with most people. The exception is people that don't eat pizza. If you both eat pizza from the same restaurants, that is even more of a shared experience, and there can be even more conversation. Throughout human history, people normally came together around a dinner table, shared a meal together, and this gave people an opportunity to have conversations. With the invention of fast foods, microwave dinners, and DoorDash, now people often eat alone. There's also much more variety in food today than there has been in the past. This means that a vegan isn't likely to be able to have a conversation with someone on a keto diet without getting into a fight. A person on a vegan diet and a person on a keto diet do not share the same eating experience. I bring up food because it is probably the most basic shared human experience, and it has traditionally been used to start conversations. When getting to know someone, having a meal with a friend, dating, romance, and sharing family experiences together at the dinner table. If you don't know what else you can talk about, there is a good chance you can have a conversation about food. But let's go back to this concept of a fragmented society, and let's see how it relates to entertainment media. See, the further back you go in time, the fewer choices people had when it came to consuming media. In the early 2010s, we got Netflix streaming, and all of a sudden, people had 10,000 choices of what shows to watch. Prior to that, in the early 2000s, People were still going to Blockbuster Video and renting movies. If you had cable TV, there were probably hundreds of channels, but there were really only about half a dozen very popular ones. This meant that many people watched the same things. This gave people shared experiences because they could talk about the last episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer or share theories about the TV show Lost or The X-Files. Really, as late as about 2015, there were still very popular shows that many people would watch and have conversations about. This includes Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, or even the first few seasons of Stranger Things. Perhaps you can remember conversations in the past about certain TV shows or movies. You'll probably quickly realize these don't happen nearly as often as they once did. If you go back even further to the 1980s, there were only 4 major TV channels. Going to the movies was common, and wow, did people communicate with each other in the 1980s. During the 1980s, you could even say that having conversations with people was the most common form of entertainment. Hanging out and talking to people was actually what people did for fun. Even politics and current events was far less argumentative in the 1980s because there were only 3 main news stations and they weren't super polarized. Talking on the phone and having conversations with people was very common back then. In fact, people would spend hours on the telephone just talking to each other, and this was considered really fun. Now, how often do you reach for your phone and actually use it as a phone? These days, some people might even get upset if you call them instead of just texting. Phones are no longer phones. They are short-form content, dopamine delivery devices. So we have certain pieces of media in the past that were very popular, and this always gave people something to talk about. Watching or listening to something was a shared experience. Nowadays, even if 2 people have Netflix, it's doubtful that they watch the same shows. And even if 2 people listen to music on Spotify, it's doubtful that they listen to the same music genres. So let's talk about what the word culture really means. The dictionary defines culture as the shared beliefs, customs, arts, etc. of a particular social group, place, or time. So for example, the American Indian culture involved hunting buffalo, making pottery, and a belief in the Great Spirit. Or baseball, Coca-Cola, and thigh-high stockings were all part of the culture of the 1950s America. Definition number 2. The set of values, beliefs, or social practices associated with a particular field, activity, or society. Here are some examples. Celebrating Halloween and the 4th of July as Independence Day are both part of American culture, and marriage has been part of every culture in human history. There is another sub-definition that says, culture is a set of beliefs, practices, and symbols that are learned and shared. So for example, drinking wine and wearing togas was part of Roman culture, or even being baptized is part of the Christian culture. So the things I want to emphasize about this concept of culture are: number 1, culture is shared. Number 2, culture is basically the things that a group or society agrees with. Number 3, culture revolves around shared experiences, like opening Christmas presents, going to baseball games, or even following the latest fashion trends. Okay, here is a new concept for you. I'll call this a cultural anchor, a cultural origin point, or a source of culture. This is something that many people have a shared experience with, and it goes on to be important in creating more shared experiences and more culture into the future. An example would be the first Star Wars movie in 1977. Many people actually went and watched this movie over and over again in theaters. And wow, did people have conversations about Star Wars. This went on, for example, into many different books, comic books, 12 different movies, many TV shows, cartoon shows, costumes, conventions, toys, over 100 video games, etc. And it started from a single movie and spread out to become part of the culture. This is what is meant by a cultural anchor or a cultural origin point. Whenever a large part of the population shares an experience, it creates a cultural origin point, something that many people can talk about. So here are a few more examples of cultural origin points. 650 million people worldwide watched the Apollo 11 moon landing on July 20th, 1969, and it's still talked about today. The 1963 JFK assassination, which was televised over 50 years ago, but this left such a cultural impact that many novels and movies have been made about it, and people still talk about it today. The Beatles in the 1960s and early 1970s are still considered one of the most influential music groups of all times, and many people still listen to them today, 50 years later. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings books. The Lord of the Rings became the third most widely read fictional books of all time. This series went on to widely influence modern fantasy movies, Dungeons and Dragons, and Amazon is still making series of this even today. So what do you think the largest cultural origin point of all time in the Western world is? Can you think of any movie, TV show, book, or musical artist that really became a huge cultural origin point in the last 10 years? Not really. The massive cultural origin points died around 2015, probably with the Game of Thrones TV show going downhill in the last 3 seasons. And this is fragmented culture. What used to be shared experiences has been replaced by personalized social media algorithms and short-form content. You see, if 2 people go to see the same movie, they have a shared experience to talk about. But if 2 people watch TikTok videos for 2 hours, they didn't even watch the same videos. These short-form videos were scrolled by so quickly and so hypnotically that it's doubtful each person can even remember what was happening in most of the videos. And even if you did get lucky and both happened to see the same 2-minute video, there isn't much of a conversation you can have about something that short. It's like, yo, did you see that video where the dude fell on his head wearing a rabbit suit? Yeah, that was funny. Cool. Now maybe one person's algorithm gives them a video complaining about men, and another person's algorithm gives them videos about Spider-Man, and another person's algorithm gives them videos about makeup. There is no shared experience. There is nothing to have a conversation about. At best, it creates broken, fragmented subcultures where certain people are interested in Labubu dolls or something, and some people are interested in cosmetic procedures like lip fillers, but these people probably don't know anyone else interested in the same thing to talk about it. Short-form content doesn't really create culture. At best, it creates temporary fragmented fashion trends or temporary fads like Labubu dolls. The Labubu craze lasted less than a year, and now interest in the subject is almost back down to nothing. So if you want to be able to talk to someone, you need a shared reality, and that comes from shared experiences. Media consumption has become so fragmented through personalized algorithms that it is uncommon that anyone is even experiencing the same media. So what can you do about that? You need some actual shared experiences, not on a cell phone screen, but in the real universe. Here are a few examples. Join a baseball team and you will be able to talk about baseball. Take an art class at your local community college and you will be able to discuss art with other students. If you like animals, volunteer at an animal shelter and you will be able to talk about animals, the shelter, and your coworkers. Any creative field where you can take lessons is going to give you access to people with shared experiences, and conversations are going to happen. This could be ballet lessons, art lessons, dance lessons, band practice, a church choir, sculpting class, sports activities, martial arts, yoga classes, etc. As I mentioned earlier in this video, the staple of human relationships and shared experiences throughout the entire history of mankind has been eating. So try not to always eat alone. In fact, eating out with friends was a very common activity before COVID hit. Before the internet, people actually did things together as a form of entertainment. This created shared experiences and things to talk about. Without a digital screen to hypnotize everyone, what did people actually do for fun? Several common group activities, including going bowling, playing card games, board games, and even bingo, going to amusement parks and carnivals, going to the movies together, mini golfing, playing darts, and swimming in pools. If you go back a little further in time, before the 1980s, dancing was actually a very common shared experience and form of entertainment. This also gave men and women a way to interact safely. There are still dancing halls today, but they were extremely popular in the past. Here's a fun fact. If you have ever watched any anime shows, you will notice there are always scenes of the characters eating together. Always. This is because eating and sharing meals has been the cornerstone of human relations since the beginning of human time. Eating is a human basic shared experience. A huge percent of anime shows are based around the high school experience. This is because almost everyone goes to high school. School is a shared experience, and this makes the anime relatable to just about everyone. Because even if you're an old person, you can recall what it was like having that school experience. We are living in a fragmented culture, mostly due to an overwhelming amount of digital content and customized content algorithms. And that means that people aren't even watching the same things anymore. Most people are spending between 30 and 45 hours a week staring at a digital smartphone screen. And almost everyone is seeing something different. Those 30 to 45 hours used to be spent having shared experiences that were real and not digital. People actually used to leave their homes and go visit one another, go out to eat more, go to the movies together, go dancing, go to live concerts, play sports together, go to social clubs, and play card games, and the list goes on. Online social media is actually the opposite of social. The solution to the problem of declining friendships, poor communication, and loneliness is that you actually have to put your phone down and engage in face-to-face experiences with other people, experiences that aren't digital. There are two other major reasons why people don't communicate as much as they used to, and I will cover those reasons in future videos. But if you enjoyed today's videos, please make sure to give it a like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Welcome to Yoga Plus. Courses available from pupil to yogi. Sort by yoga, fitness, and instructors. Create your own routines. Access the Pose Library. Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth, available on Google Play and the App Store.
Join us for 14 and 30-day programs, hour-long classes, and much more on our yoga app, Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth. It's free to download and features a variety of wellness content, including yoga, fitness, Pilates, guided meditations, and interviews with dozens of wellness experts.